Dispatch. Dispatch 16 Alpha.
Go ahead, engine 16.
We found the house, we're not at the location yet. It's an occupied, large, single-story house. We have fire through the roof. There's attic well involved. It may still be occupied. We're about half a block away.
10-4, engine 16. Engine 17 advised they were en route as well.
Dispatch is 110th Street. 3900 block 110 east of there. Dispatch on engine 16 Alpha. We're reporting an excitement in this house. They're connected to the A side. 10-4. Dispatch, we have a victim. The rear of the structure, out of the garage. I need EMS here immediately. I also need PD. 10-4-16, dispatch clear.
On the evening of Friday, August 24th, a line of strong thunderstorms moved through the Lubbock area. As lightning illuminated the night sky, firefighters here at Station 16 could see what appeared to be smoke issuing from a nearby home. Engine 16 responded before a 911 call was ever made. As firefighters arrived at the residence behind me, they knew they were dealing with a large attic fire. What they didn't know is that the house had been struck by lightning, was constructed with spray-in foam insulation in the attic, and featured a product known as corrugated stainless steel tubing which delivered the gas service and ran throughout the attic. In the end, these three factors came together, resulting in an explosion that caused the death of one of the occupants, injury to another, and a situation that very easily could have caused death or injury to some of our own firefighters.
We just thought we had attic fire. We're kind of glad to see it vented. Went around, found it at 110th Street. The address wasn't immediately visible, so when I got out, was going to do a little more thorough size up. The guy who owned the house came over, and he was irate, you know, very emotional. There's someone in there, it's dead. He wouldn't tell me who was in there, where it was. He just says, dead, he's dead, he's dead. Pointed to the front door, you got to get him. So at that time, the fire extinguisher, that was moved to the back burner. We all went inside. It looked like a second-story house, so we're trying to find a stairway. Thought that was the highest priority of danger for anybody in the house. Couldn't find the stairway then. The guy made his way to the back, opened up the door and hauled us. He's in the garage. So we made our way to the garage. The garage was really dark. Found the victim by the garage door, which is up about 2 foot. Took him out. They brought the med pack over, started working on him. I checked the attic, thought there was still something really going on there. Grabbed one of the hosmen, finished carrying our line through the house, and just went up in the attic and sprayed it all down.
What we have is a lightning strike. 10 minutes later, we've got an overpressurization event, produced a lot of heat, smoke, and fire. By witness accounts, the occupants had no idea that there was a fire burning. About 10 minutes after the initial lightning strike, we hear a boom. There's immediate pressurized heavy black smoke pushing from light fixtures in the patio, and the victim was in the direct line of the pressure blast and the third-degree burns over 85% of his body. The attic access hatch that's in the garage was open. The ladder was not extended, and we have significant evidence that there was an overpressurization that created damage to the garage wall and to the garage door, which actually buckled and gave a pressure release and an escape route for another victim.
Sadly, the residents were unaware that a fire was burning above them in the attic. In fact, they were unaware that their house had even been struck by lightning. The only sign of trouble was their home alarm system, which continued to sound. After several failed attempts to silence that alarm system, they went in search of the master control box, which they believed to be in the attic. They came to the garage, opened the attic hatch, and moments later, an explosion. The man standing in front of and below that attic hatch was killed nearly instantly. The fuel for the explosion was natural gas. The source of the natural gas was small holes in the corrugated stainless steel tubing. The cause of the holes? Lightning.
Okay, well, the corrugated stainless steel tubing is a method to deliver gas from a manifold in the attic to different appliances throughout the house. Whereas before we used to have the black iron pipe connected throughout the house to every port where natural gas was going to be delivered. What they have now is they actually build a manifold in the attic at a central location where the iron pipe comes up into the attic, and then it looks like an octopus. It just leaves that manifold in a multitude of directions, and whereas you had to have a particular avenue to put the iron pipe in the walls and everything to get it to that location, this is a lot easier for the builder to go ahead and just pull it down through an opening in the wall to get it where it needs to go. It's not as detailed as what you had with the iron pipe. So it's a lot easier for the builder to go ahead and get the natural gas from point A to point B in the house. It's a product. It's called corrugated stainless steel gas piping or gas tubing. And the problem with it is it's a thin wall. It's very flexible. In 2007 there was a class action lawsuit that was filed on this because it didn't have a coating on it. They believed that it was subject to things like static electricity, lightning strikes up to 3 miles away could perforate the tubing and cause a gas leak. Well, after that class action lawsuit, what we saw was that they put some form of a plasticized coating on the outside of it to help deal with this electricity or the perforation from, say, like a lightning strike. The problem with it is it operates under higher pressure, whereas in a normal household on iron pipe gas pressures, we're talking about a half of a psi of pressure to deliver gas to your appliances in the home. When you look at this now, out at the meter, they've actually got to turn the pressure up to get this stuff to the appliances in the house, and it's actually regulated in the attic rather than at the meter in the alley like it is with the iron pipe. The problem is when you get a perforation in this pipe, whether it's from a lightning strike or what have you, that gas starts to escape, and then it's escaping under higher pressures than what you would normally see through the iron pipe distribution system that we have in other types of construction throughout the city.
Corrugated stainless steel tubing comes in a variety of different sizes and colors, although its general form is easily recognizable. Common brand names include Gas-Tite, Omega-Flex, Ward-Flex, True-Flex, Par-Flex, and others. Here you can see examples of holes in CSST created by lightning. Again, it's important to remember even small holes are significant due to the increased gas pressure of this product. In addition, CSST is not used exclusively in single-family homes. It's also commonly used in multifamily occupancies such as apartments and hotels, and is being used more and more in commercial structures. Finally, even when properly bonded and grounded, this product is still subject to the dangers of lightning. Recognizing the presence of CSST starts at the gas meter. Here you see a typical residential gas meter regulated to 1/2 pound of pressure. A home that a 1/2 pound meter serves will be constructed with traditional iron pipe. In contrast, gas meters serving structures with CSST are regulated to 2 pounds of pressure and may be identified in several different ways. First, 2-pound meters may have the regulator, valve, or some other location painted red. Note also the red cap on the end of the regulator. In addition, the pressure is sometimes written with permanent marker on either the regulator, the meter, or in some other location. In this case, both the regulator and the valve are painted red, and the pressure is written on the meter. Other times the markings may not be as obvious. On this 2-pound meter, the permanent marker has worn off and the red cap has faded to nearly white in the sunlight. As these meters age, these markings may be difficult to see, making it impossible to differentiate a 2-pound meter from a 1/2 pound meter. Therefore, all homes must be treated as if they have high-pressure service until proven otherwise.
We have 4 separate events that we believe were initiated by a lightning strike either directly to the structure or in the area of the structure, which caused a pinhole leak in corrugated stainless steel tubing in the attic, which allowed gas to free flow into the attic and ignite. It's pretty much limited so far to storm events. When we see the storms, that's when we see these pinhole leaks. We've had at least 2 major fires with significant property value loss, and to my knowledge, this is the first fire death associated with one of these events in the nation.
And our experience with it so far has been in lightning storms. We had the Vintage Township fire. We had 2 fires on August 11th in 2011 where we had lightning strikes on attics. And then we had this fire on 110th Street where the lightning struck the chimney. And again, major gas fires taking place in those attics. And this one now with a fatality.
The next factor in this fire was the use of polyurethane spray-in foam insulation in the attic. As the use of this product is becoming widespread, we as firefighters have to understand how it affects fire behavior and how to deal with the challenges it presents.
The principle behind foam is keeping an enclosed environment, keeping your ductwork cool, keeping that attic space cool. You know, you walk into an attic in the summer that is foamed here, it's going to be 10, 15 degrees warmer than the living space that is heated and cool. You know, conventional insulation, you're liable 120, 125 degrees depending what time of the year. The vents, any vents that you see are going to be for the aesthetics only. You know, in a gable or something like that, a lot of people like the big round wood vents. It may look like it's vented, it's not. You know, a lot of the plumbers and stuff like that will actually have fresh air vents ducted to their appliance if they need to draw fresh air. If you see a vent on the roof, it's probably going to be over a garage. But you know, unless a builder made a mistake and just happened to put a vent in, if it's done, if foam is done properly, it's not going to be vented. The one thing that we push that the company that I work for is very big on, you need to take your house and you need to essentially make it a cooler, a styrofoam cooler. That's how you picture it. You build your attic space, everything inside this cooler. You want your ductwork cool, so we spray up to the rafters. We just encompass the walls, everything. Some builders will actually, I've seen foam sprayed down and you know, to the actual ceiling. You know, from a firefighting standpoint, that's one thing we need to look at. That does not make it where you can step on it. You know, you've still got to look for rafters or joists. You've still got to do that. Walls, some builders will actually do conventional insulation, a cellulose or fiberglass batting or something like that. To be as efficient as it possibly can be, it needs to be sprayed in the walls and up to the deck of your roof, basically.
Polyurethane foam may be found as thick as 6 inches depending on the amount of insulation desired. Because this type of insulation creates a virtually airtight compartment that will hold heat and combustible gases indefinitely, traditional methods of size-up, ventilation, and extinguishment may not be effective and may in fact be dangerous in these situations. While the signs and indicators of an attic fire are usually relatively obvious, a home or other building insulated in this way may present very differently, making the true extent of a fire difficult to determine. Even a thermal imaging camera may be a less effective tool, as the heat of a significant fire will be shielded by the foam.
Well, it's you know, we're going to have to look at venting those areas differently. You know, you're either going to have to vent it through an upstairs window, you're going to have to that is open to the attic space, or you're going to have to pull a hole opposite side of the house and vent it that direction. And just keep in mind that a pony wall is what we put up between the attic space of the garage and the attic space of the actual living house, the actual living space of the house. And pony walls can go over porches and everything like that too. But you're going to have an opening, be it the door that goes from the attic space of the garage to the door or to the living attic space. You're going to have an opening inside that envelope. You're you're going to have to pull ceiling to push air through, or you're going to have to cut a hole.
The foam insulation that was sprayed into the attic is a polyurethane type product, and that in and of itself, when that burns, it puts off a lot of black particulate carbon, soot, and those types of byproducts. With the gas being, or with that gas line being perforated, it created a big gas fire in that attic. In this particular instance, it actually burned the diaphragm out of the regulator that actually regulated the pressure going into the corrugated stainless steel. And once it did that, it was putting high pressure gas through that those perforations in that corrugated stainless steel. That was causing degradation of this foam and causing the off-gassing of that. Lots of soot, lots of particulate carbon, and just what I looked at today, perhaps some toxic gases like hydrogen cyanide. But that combination of things together, what I want to discover is I want to discover if that actually added to the fuel that was actually being burned in the attic and actually caused more of an oxygen deficit, because it was, you had so much gas in there that was hot and ready to burn, and all it needed was air. All I'm saying is I know that big fire that was burning on that corrugated stainless steel tubing and at that regulator was hot enough to cause the degradation of that foam. That is a polyurethane product that has petroleum products in it that are mixed with a resin, and then it's essentially a plastic. Now it's flame resistant, but we could see heavy duty degradation, lots of soot, lots of particulate carbon, and all of that was manifested in the fire after the explosion because it was on everything. If I can give any kind of tips at all, if you know you got an attic fire, or you suspect that you have an attic fire, get somebody to that alley immediately with a crescent wrench, and if it's nighttime, have a flashlight, and you got to do a good size up on the gas meter and the piping where it goes off of the meter and into the ground. Check that, and if there is any kind of red marking on there whatsoever, assume that you're dealing with high pressure gas in that attic, and until proven otherwise, that's the attitude that we need to foster. And if we'll go at it with that type of an attitude, then perhaps we can remove our biggest obstacle, which is what's really burning in that attic, and that's natural gas coming off of that manifold. The other thing is make sure that gas is shut off before we do anything where we make some sort of an opening into that attic, whether it's something we do with a pike pole or whether it's something that we do by pulling attic stairs down. Be very mindful of what it looks like when a backdraft is about to occur. If you have a lot of black sooty smoke, that's going to be your first indicator right there, because that is something that is a good indicator that a backdraft situation is occurring, because there's a lot of particulate carbon, and particulate carbon is evidence of incomplete combustion that's taking place. So I just say do a good size up and get that gas killed. Make sure that you're in full PPE and SCBA with the SCBA hooked up, with your facepiece regulator hooked up, and then look into that attic and make sure that you're seeing what you really need to see, and then get on with your firefighting tactics.
With the combination of a sealed, well-insulated compartment and the introduction of high-pressure natural gas, the possibility of a backdraft or explosion cannot be overemphasized. Because of lightning, vertical ventilation, which would normally be used to eliminate the possibility of backdraft or explosion, may not be possible during a thunderstorm. The problem is, this is exactly when these type of fires are most likely to occur. Finally, there may be no easy solutions to these problems, but we can do the following.
Because of the increased possibility of explosion, firefighters must wear full PPE with facepiece and regulator at all times. Second, when accessing the attic, firefighters should open the hatch as shown, standing behind and below using the door as a shield. Any garage doors should also be open at this time to give an escape route should an explosion occur. Next, priority must be given to disconnecting natural gas service as early as possible in an incident. While past practice has been to wait on truck companies to secure utilities, first arriving engine companies may now have to perform this task.
Finally, we have to be aware of the construction going on in our first-in territories. We have to be aware of structures with spray and foam insulation, and we have to go out and look at the gas meters that serve them. We have to stay aware of the structures we protect, and we also have to be aware that we cannot continue to apply the tactics of 10 years ago to the structures of today. In this case, the combination of CSST, lightning, and spray and foam insulation resulted in the death of one civilian. If we don't remain vigilant, the next time could be one of us.
I think there's a reason to be concerned about the CCST in the attic. If we continue to see this, and given the situation with the foamed-in attic at the most recent fire, and the oxygen deficient atmosphere that is created by the airtight area in the attic, combined with the raging fire from the gas line rupture, I think that there's a possibility of backdraft incidents and natural gas explosions in those areas. The fact that the residents or occupants of this structure didn't have any indication of a fire prior to the overpressurization event tells me that it could be a fire department personnel that's going to investigate. It's one of the things that we're trying to do is look into the attic as quickly as possible, make sure we don't have an undetected fire. Could have just as easily been a firefighter in the direct line of that blast.
Yeah, you know, the attic then, the attic access was down, and it had already breathed. The backdraft was over. It was exiting a lot of smoke from the top. Before that, when we got there, we would have just done, you know, unfortunately, just like we always did. But hopefully everybody had their gear on, you know. There's no telling what it would have looked like before we got there. It may not even look like an attic fire, but we certainly would have pulled that hatch, and then it could have been, you know, not good for sure.